Damn right. Let's go. So I put the fucking hat on for one reason. Paul McCarthy called my ass out in some comment on some thread. I'm like, I've wore it, motherfucker. But he goes, but didn't you say you were going to do awkward moments throughout the year? So yeah, fuck off. We're in Care Bear mode today. This is the tallest trucker hat on the planet. I mean, this thing feels like it sticks up 40 feet.
Is it really tall? I mean, it doesn't look that much different to me.
And the hearts is what set it off, though. I mean, it's just absolutely classic. So
You got to look up more.
well, happy Monday, everybody.
Would it be any less embarrassing if it was like Grumpy Bear or something like that?
No, I you know, Tenderheart, that's who that is the best one, but you know, Care Bear stare and shit. So have you guys ever seen the militarized version of Care Bears? They take the Care Bear stare and turn it into the 1,000-yard stare. It's really bad. It's dark as shit. It's dark. It's dark. Well, happy Monday, everybody. What a way to kick it off and hanging out and all the craziness to get this week started. I had a mechanic this weekend. I had the new golf cart that had an old gas line on it and freaking that was deteriorating. And I couldn't figure out what the gas smell was until all of a sudden the cart stops and gas is just spilling all over the freaking driveway. So that was $19 worth of gasoline just shot out the bottom of the damn thing. So I had to walk. That's the bad part of it is I had to walk around the fucking farm. Like, I hope to be the people in Wall-E someday, you know, 500 pounds floating around in a cart everywhere. That is an amazing lifestyle. I'm all for that. But I don't.
Donnie, don't you have like a SCN Tough Mudder in March or something that you got to get ready for?
Yeah. Fuck off. I put the post out this morning that I'm in. I almost threw in the towel. I wasn't gonna go. I hadn't. I mean, I've been doing my walks every morning, but I had not been, you know, training for the stupid ass Tough Mudder. But I hemmed and hawed over the weekend. I'm like, man, too many other people signed up for this shit. I can't let all these assholes down. So I'm in. We'll be there freaking March 1st, Austin, Texas, at the damn Tough Mudder. Let's see if I can not tear my hamstring this time.
I was gonna say. Ourselves from making the same mistake twice. Okay.
Yeah. So it was the damn rings. You know, going from ring to ring, it's just an absolute bitch in the Tough Mudder. The only part of the Tough Mudder I struggled with was trying to do the damn rings and the monkey.
Wait a minute, you pulled your hamstring doing the rings?
Yeah, I did. One foot got caught up in it. No, I'm kidding. I went to sling from one ring to the next and I lost my grip. And when I landed, I overextended my leg. And I did like this whole roll. And you know, it was a fantastic fall when half the crowd was like, oh, and the other half was like laughing and pointing. So, I mean, it was fucking fantastic. And I wish Elizabeth had been filming because I was literally ass over head when I finally stopped rolling. So it had to be spectacularly horrible.
Damn.
So, but it was fun. It was fun. What anybody else do this weekend? Anything fun and exciting?
We just swim meet. So we were at the pool for like 3 hours both days. And then I watched my 2 and 3-year-old niece after that. And so we had a lot going on over here this weekend.
Nice. Swim meets just sound boring to me.
Swim meets sound boring to you? They are kind of boring and listening. Because you just sit around and wait for them to swim for like a minute and a half. And then you wait another 15 minutes to see them swim for a minute and a half. But I always volunteer, right? So I'm always doing stuff and running around, participating, timing, doing stuff on the deck, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not as boring when you do that.
Chalk it up for another reason I'm glad I didn't have kids.
Where are you parked at, Peyton, right now?
No, we're back in Fort Worth. Nowhere special. Taking a break for a little bit, getting things checked out on the motorhome because over the last travel, some things.
Peyton learned a really good lesson on his last trip. You know, when a stabilizer won't raise up, right? Do some work, figure it out how to get to rise up, not try and drive down the road, hit a bump, and fuck the stabilizing system completely up. And a quick little oops went to what, $5,000? That's what it cost to fix?
Not that bad. Not that bad yet. That's what it will cost to fix, but not there yet. Yeah, one of the legs was down, and we were pressing the button to get it to come up, and nothing we could do would get it to come up any higher. So it was getting maybe 3 or 4 inches off the ground, and that was it. And we were like, well, let's get it to the next gas station, and then we'll see if something shifted, and we can try it again. And Before we even got to the next gas station, we hit a bump big enough that the stabilizer goes bam straight on the ground, and then just starts slowly extending the rest of the way. And so then we're dragging it down the highway, pull off to the side, and turn on the thing and hit the button to retract the stabilizer. And this time, after slamming into the ground, it goes all the way back up, no problem.
See, all you need is a BFH, a big fucking hammer. It works every time.
Oh, thanks, Ruth. They said they have a great RV tech in Fort Worth now. I'll take that number down. Just message me privately.
I agree with Serena's statement too. As long as people laugh when you fall, you're not old. I love it.
That's a great point.
So, part of me would just get up, and keep walking. Not let anybody know how freaking bad it hurt. Like I was just trying to pull it off and be cool. Yeah, that thing it hurt like a son of a
That's
bitch.
like the time I went Rockwell climbing and I just fell the wrong way. And I could feel everyone's eyes on me. I was like, and then I had my daughter coming out to me, Mom, you did that wrong. I was like, yeah, I figured that out after. Like my elbow was bruised for 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. That sucks. Mom,
Yeah.
you did
Mom,
that.
you fell wrong. Yeah, I can feel it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right, P, let's play a game.
All right. Today we've got another round of Am I the Asshole?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Donnie, this one's about you, actually.
Oh,
So everybody, is Donnie the asshole?
yes.
I love how you put 3 little hearts down in the corner.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
That's how many lives we have this game. There's only 3 stories, so as we get through.
Can I get a power up or something?
No.
And why is
No,
asshole?
you're on your
why
own.
does this look like a Valentine's Day card?
We're getting ready.
I mean, it's
I actually thought Valentine's was this week until my kids corrected me. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You're off by a little bit, but it's all right.
I
We'll
am.
forgive you.
I
Yes.
am.
All right, story number 1. Family vacation or free babysitting. He says, I'm 23 male and repeatedly stuck playing the part of babysitter for my 3 nieces and nephews on family outings. I hate it, but everyone says since my trip was free, parents paid for me. It's the least I can do. My sister doesn't even look at her kids all vacation because I've got it handled. This year I'm paying my own way so I don't get stuck in the same hotel room with the kids. And everyone says I'll ruin the outing if I don't watch the kids, but I'm tired of it. I just want a vacation where I can be an adult and actually enjoy myself. You think they're the asshole for paying their own way to get away from the kids?
No.
I think there's an
Absolutely
asshole
not.
for still going on the fucking vacation. Obviously, they don't want him there other than to babysit. Freaking tell him to fuck off and go to his own vacation.
I think the
That's
parents
what
are
I
kind of an asshole for not wanting to spend time with their kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And grandparents, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I mean, I don't think he's an asshole, but why is he still, like you said, why is he still going on the family vacation?
Yeah.
If he's, I mean, like, go somewhere with a bunch of 23-year-olds, perhaps.
Right.
Yeah. I know in the
Peyton, did
full
we lose a
story-
life or 2 lives?
No, there's only 3 stories. So this is
Okay,
story
all
1.
right. Well, it looks like right now we lost 2 lives and we're on our last life.
I'll do it the other way for the next time. I know it said in here that where they go, this person loves to go. They go to the same place every year, and they like to tour all of the art museums in the area. But the children hate it because they're children and it's boring, and so they never get to do the things they want to do. They're stuck babysitting the whole time.
I totally feel like my 18-year-old son is going to write this someday. Oh, we never make him babysit. Like, we don't make him watch the kids, but he's 8 years older than the next oldest. So, and then we have 10 that are all between the ages of 9 and 2.
Gotcha.
And so he's always like, what am I doing here? Why am I making sandcastles?
All right, final verdict. Yes,
Yeah.
no. I think we all said no.
No,
Luckily,
he's
I
not
don't.
an
I never
asshole.
get the call to babysit, so we're good. No, he's not an asshole. They call me Uncle No No.
Uncle No does not babysit. All right. Am I the asshole for telling my father his new tattoo is disgusting and disgraceful?
Yes.
All right. Well, about 2 months ago, my dad went to get a Twin Towers tattoo designed. For context, both my parents were in one of the towers on September 11th, and my mom never made it out. Cut to the other day, my dad is showing off his new tattoo of the falling man tattoo, the falling man photo. I obviously thought this was disgusting and in poor taste, and told him not only is this disgustingly inappropriate, it's a disgrace to mom.
Whew.
That's a rough one.
Wow, that's a heavy one, P.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Well, way to freaking make us all chipper and shit on Monday.
Good morning, everyone.
I mean, I'm going to have to be honest and say that that particular thing, the falling man photo tattooed on someone, whether or not you were married to someone who died in the towers, it
Makes you an
seems
asshole.
still kind of disrespectful.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I say yes.
Yeah, totally an asshole. She was fine.
Yeah,
I
wait,
think
the father's
the
an asshole, not her.
Yeah.
This person's not an asshole.
Yeah. Wow. What goes through somebody's head? You lose your wife and you do the falling. That makes no sense to me.
I don't know. It's so iconic. Like everyone knows the thing, and it's so bad. Like I don't think I could ever do something like that on my body for the rest of time.
I mean, I've seen your tattoos paid. They're all pretty bad, but you know.
I know, but that one's bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to suggest some therapy for this gentleman.
Right?
I mean, the other side of that coin, though, is tattoos are deeply personal to the individual who's, you know, who's putting it on their skin forever.
Not always, Bernie. Not always. There are some drunken moments where you're just like, fucking, let's get some ink.
That's true, but this doesn't sound like that.
No.
Sounds like Dad's head. This was a really good idea in honoring his mom or his wife.
Yeah. It started off as a good idea, like getting a Twin Towers tattoo in remembrance of his partner. Like, I'm totally fine with that, but I think the falling man is a little too far.
Yeah. That was my first thought, though, Bernie, is that like tattoos are so super personal, and maybe he has different connections to that photo because he was in the building, you know? I mean, but I still stand by my first statement that that is kind of a poor taste tattoo. But I get it.
Well, and now he's got this freaking tattoo of the falling man that he's not only got to explain why he got the tattoo, but then also tell everybody that his wife died. You know, that's a double tragedy. Yeah. Double tragedy.
Yeah. All right. Final thoughts. Asshole.
She's not. He is.
The dad's an asshole. We all agree on that.
Yeah.
All right. Sweet. All right. Last one. Not visiting my in-laws while in town. There's a lot of reading. I'll read this one if you want me to. It says, I'm attending a wedding for my side of the family in a few months with my mom and sibling. The wedding's in another province and we'll need to fly there, and we'll be in town for a total of 3 days. My brother-in-law and his family also live in this town. It's technically his half-brother. We're not super close, and due to the distance, we only see them once every few years. They're lovely people, and I enjoy spending time with them. However, since it's my mom and siblings' first time in this town, I wanted to spend the day sightseeing with them. The other 2 days will be for travel and for the wedding itself. My husband thinks I should carve out time to see his family, but I don't think there's enough time. Am I the asshole for not carving out time to see my in-laws?
I'm kind of confused, though. His brother-in-law lives in that town, so is he going to see his
brother-in-law and his family? It's technically his half-brother.
I would say, hey, hon, I know your family's important. You go hang out with them. I'm going to stick with my family for this time.
He's not.
I would do a split.
He's not.
I had to reread it again. Yeah, fuck him. I'd go spend time with my family and catch up with them the next 2 days. We'll see you at the wedding.
Yeah. I mean, it's only 3 days. You got to prioritize. You know, if you got other people to see and other things to do, then.
Yeah, can't please everybody. I'm on the same page. No, I don't think they're an asshole for it. Just be up front and be like, no, I'm not going. I can't. There's not enough time in the day.
I mean, I've had situations like this because my whole family lives in Massachusetts. Like my mom's whole side of the family lives in Massachusetts, and it's not like my in-laws, but there are cousins throughout the state. Like, how many cousins can I get to in one vacation, right? And so sometimes people get left out because I don't have time.
How do you say that, State?
You know, like here we have the freaking, Fort Worth stockyards, and somebody came in from out of town that had never been there. My whole family's here. I'm taking them to go see the fucking stockyards. I can catch up with the family in a couple of days. Like, go see the sightseeing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
No, I think we're all on the same page. Are they the asshole?
Not an asshole.
No.
No.
Go be with family. But that's our last story for this one. So we'll send it out and get over to Piciacchio.
That was a fun game.
This is Alan Piciacchio, founder of Alalytics, specializing in identifying and eliminating wasteful practices within businesses and unlocking their full potential. By leveraging advanced data analytics and engineering solutions, they systematically uncover bottlenecks and opportunities for growth, driving businesses' long-term success. And today, Alan gets the hot seat with the Success Champions team.
Hey, all right. It's going to be fun. So, Alan, been nice getting to know you and all the stuff. I expect a full stand-up comedy routine while we do this. So one thing that didn't say in there is Alan actually has done some professional comics work. I've actually watched one of his videos and surprised. Why are sometimes introverts, like when they finally do perform, actually funny? It drives me nuts. They can't fucking say 2 words otherwise, in most conversation, but when they got to perform, they usually can step up and make it work. So, but Alan, welcome to the show, my friend. Tell us a little bit about who you are and then how can we help?
All right. Well, a couple things. Nicely done on the pictures. That you said you wanted me to cry a little bit. You got my kids in there. That was pretty epic to get my kids and pictures. Very cool. And just the point about the comedy piece is that, like my brain was wrapped kind of like, not figuratively, but relatively speaking, with duct tape for so many years, being in that corporate mold, that once I got out, it was like cutting. It was like you ever see those videos where people wrap the rope around the watermelon and then eventually it bursts? That's kind of like what my brain was like when I got out. So instead of being the nerdy engineer, I suddenly took on another persona in the fall, which is like, hey, I don't have to tell the truth all the time. I can be a comedian and embellish things. So it was kind of like it was a reaction to like being out of corporate America, I would say.
Fair. So you had your midlife crisis. Awesome.
I've retired twice. I've had multiple. I started midlife crises in my 30s when I had to get back. Anyway, I'm always an overachiever. As a matter of fact, I start my resolutions on November 22nd so that I could fail earlier than everybody else, because that's the kind of overachiever I am.
Nice.
Love it.
Tell us a little bit about your business and then how can we help you, my friend?
Yeah. So again, with my business, allegedly, my mom was going to name me. She was going to name me Christopher Piciacchio, but she decided that was too long for a school child to like write out a name. So she named me Alan. And for some reason, I've always been very mathematical. I love numbers, just love numbers. And my business is essentially starts with analysis, observing and analyzing a situation, whether it's a manufacturing flow or service requests or revenue pipeline for a company. I would say small to mid-size, and then working through the analysis and transforming that to like a solution. It could be an engineering solution, it could be automation, it could be different reports, whatever it would be. Then it has to go into the governance phase, which is a fancy way of saying a management system around the fixes that we make. So as an example, if you identify an area in a flow of a manufacturing organization that's a bottleneck, it's like where things get clogged up, and then you fix it. You can say on paper, we fixed it, but then you have to still go back and analyze it and see if you actually got more output, because oftentimes in like IT and other places, teams will spend money on something they think is the problem and they don't really see additional output. So it's that piece of, kind of following the cycle, if you will.
Got it. So what's the biggest thing we can do to help your company today?
Well, for me, because I was in corporate America for so long, I actually, when I first came out, was like, okay, I'm going to get another corporate job. And then one of my friends, Jeff Dunkelberger, convinced me to really, go out on my own. He's like, hey, you have a lot of skill, you have a lot of talent, you have a lot of experience. Why don't you parlay this into your own business? And at first I was like, no, I want to be a cog in the machinery. So I'm adapting to entrepreneur life, but I'm finding it hard to manage my time, basically. Like I get up in the morning and I don't have I have clients who email me, but I don't have a boss telling me what to do. I'm my own boss now. So I struggle with the balance of things like, all right, I have billable hours that I could execute every day, which is good. I also want to grow my pipeline. I also want to work on my skills so that, the dinosaur now has like, Gen AI and AI in his toolbox, let's say. And then there's the other piece of just networking and somewhere in there having life. Like when you ask like, hey, did anybody do anything fun this weekend? I hope that you didn't call me because I literally did nothing fun this week. Nothing that I would say was fun. So I'm struggling with balance because I'm trying to build my business. So I'm heads down. But then at the same time, I'm like struggling with balance of all those things.
Well, first and foremost, welcome to entrepreneurship and running a business. This is normal, by the way. We all struggle with this. One of the hardest things I think in the world to do is to go from working for somebody and not fully understanding that somebody always told you what to do, to now you're out on your own and there's nobody telling you what to do and you got to figure it all out. So it's a huge mental shift. The biggest thing I can tell you for your sanity is quit looking for balance. You're not going to find it, right? Running your business just became your livelihood. So you're never going to stop thinking about the business. You're never going to have it all your ducks in a row. All you can do is somewhat play firefighter and get really focused on, specific things and task. I'll kick it over to the rest of the guys because I know they got a bunch of ideas on this. But just know mentally, you're never going to win this game of trying to find balance.
I would say also, I know, so I've been an entrepreneur for over 10 years, but I had I guess I could say the toddler years. And once I pulled out of the toddler years, I know that my mind would not turn on until evening because I'd be with the kids all day and then I'd get to work and I'd be like, okay, now it's work time. Now it's time to go. So what things are you doing that you need to retrain your brain to say, okay, now this is what we need to do. This is where because it does take some reprogramming. Even if you've been an entrepreneur, as soon as your schedule changes, you have to reprogram your brain and adjust to that schedule. Yep. So
I would say also, so I have ADHD and the coping skills required for entrepreneurship are completely different than when I was in an office. And that actually changed for me when we moved home during the pandemic. But it was so structured and so regimented and life was set up for you by the time in the office. You had, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, whatever it was, you knew what was happening in that time. And now, like you said, you get to plan that time. And so this is the most simple thing, but calendar blocking is, I live and die by calendar blocking. Like if I don't write it down, last Monday, this happened to me. I had calls every hour on the hour that were scheduled for 30 minutes. I let every single one of them run over, which is normal for me anyway. But the times that I didn't have a call and I would just sit there and stare at my computer and be like, I know I need to do something. I know there's something I should be doing right now. But because I hadn't said work on your goal sheet for the week, work on your, outline for the course, because I didn't put those things down on my calendar to give them time. I would just be like, I'm lost and I don't know what to do. So it makes it a lot easier also to make sure that you're getting to all of the things that you want to get to. So like at the beginning of the week, if you say these 3 things have to happen by Friday, then you calendar block some intentional time in there to make sure those things get done and you don't skip over them.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
That's how I handle it. But the thinking about your business all the time, though, that never
stops. Yeah. And I'll echo something that Donnie usually says as it pertains to salespeople, right? You are now your own boss. So you need to treat yourself like an employee. You need to think at a higher level. How would you plan out your day? What are the results that you want from your employee? What do you need to accomplish as the employee of your business every single day, right? Think about that at a higher level because you are your very first employee. You need to set the groundwork for how that employee is going to run the business for you. You need to really think through what the expectations are for the employees of your business and your employee number one.
Yeah. I think some of the things that helped me was recreating the environment I left. So as a sales guy, I always had to go to sales meetings. I always had to be part of the ops meetings, right? And sometimes the project meetings. So even as a solopreneur, I was creating those meetings for myself, right? So those became scheduled meetings on my calendar that I would hit every week. So now that I've got more of a team and the likes, we have days and times for different things. So like Monday is typically an operations day for me, and Friday's more often than not a catch-up day to make sure, I got everything I need to accomplish for the week done. Then I'm very set on my schedule of when somebody can get on my calendar to do like virtual coffees and the likes. I stay very, very regimented. I've always got the top secret link. Like if somebody needs to get on my calendar, like now I've got that one, right? But for the most part, you can only get certain access to me that way. I'm better in the mornings than I am in the afternoon, so I do all the heavy lifting early in the morning. And so I leave the mundane stuff, for the afternoons. So that just seems to help me a whole lot. But having scheduled times, even meeting with yourself, is massive. Do the business development first, because it's always the number one thing that gets taken off the list when shit hits a fan. Like, so if you start off with a business development activity, first thing every day. Yeah, I agree with that, Rebecca. Right. But if you get the business development out of the way early on, then you can really tie into, all the things. The last thing I would tell you about is don't become a slave to your clients. Right. Salespeople are notorious for this. They'll bend over backwards for them. You don't have to reply, every 5 seconds to them. You can, create a regiment for yourself so it's not completely kicking your ass. So,
agreed. The other thing with that, I mentioned my goal sheet. So when I set goals for myself, I make sure that they are quantifiable and that they have an end date. But then I also come up with at least 2 or 3 actionable items that will get me to that goal. Because a lot of times a goal is like a revenue goal that you want to hit. But what actions do you know get you to that goal? And make sure you're checking those boxes every day or every week or however the goal is set. Because a lot of times people will go through and just set goals, but not think through the actual actions that get them there. And those are some of the things you need to be calendaring to make sure that the other things happen.
Yeah, 100%. I like the idea of the list, and especially like having an operational meeting. In the operational meeting, you're talking about any of the projects, what's going on, where the stuff. Even though you know it, sometimes just talking through them, you'll find things that you might have missed and the like. Same thing with a sales meeting is you sit down, you talk about, okay, where are my prospects coming from? Who's in the pipeline? Where am I at? Who haven't I followed up with?
And have an accountability partner.
Yeah, it's huge.
Have somebody that you're going over this with, whether it's the same person each time. I still have once a month, I get together with 2 girlfriends and we go over because we all use the same goal sheet, and we go over that together and just check in with each other. And we're all in different businesses and doing different things, but it's just knowing that person is going to ask me.
Yeah.
Did you do what you said you were going to do? Because as a solopreneur, especially, you are the only one keeping yourself accountable if you don't have an accountability partner just to check in with every once in a while.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Alan, what places do you feel like you're failing in your time management?
I don't know that I'm failing, but I have this, like in the fall, I basically took a sabbatical. I mean, I was working, I started up my business, I joined SCN, I signed a couple clients, but I was doing it part-time. I was just like, okay, I'm going to enjoy some of my severance and take a comedy class. So I kind of took a sabbatical. And then this January, I was like, okay, even though, I'm going to hit it really hard. So I wouldn't really say I'm failing. I have this general paranoia that I'm not pushing everything the right way. It's not like a very specific, like, I guess I could do more on AI and Gen AI, but Allison, she and I talked and she said, hey, you could really invest in Chat GPT and put some. So I did that, so I've taken that advice, but I don't really have a very specific thing where I say I'm failing. I just have this general paranoia that I'm not doing enough, on some of these things, but it's hard for me to put my finger on it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, one thing that I like that Jerry gave Jess and I kind of as an assignment was, everything you do is got to be aimed at one major goal. So we put the goal out there is, will this activity get us to 300? So 300 members is kind of our next milestone that we want to get to. So Jess is better at yelling at me, basically saying, hey, how does this get us to 300? Or does this get us to 300? Because I'm fucking like Roger Rabbit and Tasmanian Devil to an 8-ball of crack most days because of my ADHD. So I'm constantly coming up with ideas and things and the likes. But if you know what that purpose or what that next milestone you're trying to get to, you'll find that you're doing a lot of crap that you probably shouldn't be doing. That's actually not focused on getting you towards that primary goal. It's been a really good barometer for keeping me from squirreling out too damn much.
Yeah.
And I'll also say that everything you try, you have to give it at least 3 months, at least 30 days, but you have to give it at least 3 months to really know if this is working in your business. So if you pick up LinkedIn and you start posting on LinkedIn every day, how does that affect your business? You have to give it time. And you can't be squirreling out, because if you're squirreling out, then you can't really figure out, is this actually working and is this actually building my business? Everything, when you're starting out building a business, everything is theory until you have the data. So, and I mean, that's where you play in. So you should excel at playing and then kind of honing it down and getting those numbers and figuring out that what works for your business.
And most times business development is going to be your number one priority, because it's the one thing that always gets pushed to the back burner. So, you need to figure out, cool, what are my activities that are going to continually grow the business? Because as soon as a client calls, anything else that we were going to do now gets freaking pushed out the window, and we're focused on the client and the like. So you have to triage, if you will, your schedule for the different activities and determine how hot is this particular task and what you're doing. So I'm not the miracle morning guy, but my morning is pretty fucking regimented. Like, it's going to be the same task activities done every morning, especially because I do so much on LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn's an hour, sometimes 2 hours of my morning every day, getting it completely, content out, commenting out, and continuing to grow, because we still pull so much revenue from the platform. And so I want to keep it rocking and rolling. So get regimented, and then always have a business development activity that can fill the dead space in a hole. So you heard Ashley talking about, sometimes you just stare at the screen like, I know I should be doing something. In those moments, always have a list of people you can reach out to on LinkedIn or some sort of business development activity that you can shove in those holes, right? And you'll be amazed at how you'll start down the path of business development, and all the other shit you're supposed to be doing will pop up. And you're like, oh crap, I was supposed to be doing this, right? And it's because we don't want to do the business development. It gets our brain working faster. How do I get out of this business development crap? And it'll put you back on track. You should still do the business development stuff, but it's a good way to get you right back on track.
Yeah, I was going over a list of things with my coach the other day, and I was telling him all these things I felt like I needed. I was like, well, I need to get my website finished, and I need to get an email list, and I need to get all, and he was like, which one of those things that you just said affects your revenue? And I was like, well, none of them. They are all ways to avoid business development. Like Donnie said. And so you get yourself in that trap. So having an activity available is a really good way to go about it. But you hear, especially if you spend a lot of time in your business circles, you'll hear about the things that other people are working on, but they might not be in the same place on their path as you are. And so you start thinking like, oh, well, that's what they're working on right now, so I should totally be working on that right now. But you might not be in that spot to be working on it, and you're just wasting brain energy thinking about it. So being really objective with yourself about what you really need to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah, stop consuming. I wish it was like this unwritten law that if you're in the first like 1, 2, or 3 years of your business, you weren't allowed to consume business knowledge, marketing knowledge, because that's where a lot of the distractions come, especially early on. Is you'll be working on something and then you'll see somebody's like, "Ooh, here's how to get to 10,000 followers in 60 days." Next thing you know, you're off this rabbit hole of I've got to be the world's best copywriter and do these funnels and build these emails out. And all it is a distraction from what your main goal is, right? Because there's so many people selling lotions and potions and, unintentional get rich schemes and the like. Stop consuming. The only time I tell people to consume is if you have a very specific problem you don't know how to solve or fix. Now you go to your network and go, okay, this is what I'm working on. Anybody know how to fix or solve this? Otherwise, most of this stuff unintentionally becomes this silver bullet, and you don't even mean to do it, but you'll hear something and be like, "Oh God, we so need to be doing that in the company," and you're just off to the freaking races. So turn off the noise. Like I would tell most entrepreneurs, literally go read fantasy smut books. I don't care. But get out of the business books, get out of the marketing books, get out of the stuff, because until you know the questions to ask, it's mostly going to be a distraction from getting face to face, belly to belly, and going to sell your stuff. Like,
I'll also add in with your network, use AI. Use AI to bounce your ideas off of, because when you use AI, I was doing it with Perplexity this weekend where I needed one specific solution. And I didn't need to go to my network to ask it. I just needed that one specific solution. So I went and asked AI. It kept me very focused on what I was doing. And it didn't shoot me down a rabbit hole of, hey, go try this, go try that, go try this. It was like, here's the answer you're looking for. Take it, execute it. So definitely use AI to your power to get to the solutions you need quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so back to that point about comparing yourself, there's this, I compare it to camping sometimes. Like when I ask somebody, was that campsite a good campsite? And they say yes, but they stay in an RV and I stay in a tent. Completely different situation. Like I may have hated that. I may hate that campsite. So
I want to know the campsites with the RVs.
Yeah, I know. And oftentimes I'm like, cool, I'll hike it in 2 miles. No big deal. But that is something that when you ask a question about, people use things so differently, so when you go to your network, you have to be careful that you're talking to people that understand what it is exactly. Because when you say, I need to look at CRMs. Okay, well, CRMs do like a million different things and can be like super hopped up, but do you really need that? Or are you still in Excel spreadsheet stage and that's fine and you don't even need to worry about a CRM yet? So just being really, really careful and objective with those types of things.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody the other day and they were looking at CRMs and, they're a solopreneur business. And they're like, I'm getting HubSpot. I'm like, why? HubSpot is going to cost you a freaking fortune. They're the worst at nickel and diamond people, down. But had I not at least stepped in really quick and said, hey, go a different direction, find Pipedrive, even Excel, something really, really simple you can create yourself. Likely they'd have been building the things out on, HubSpot, only to realize that to make HubSpot work, you got to pay a shit ton of money to make all the programs work.
Yeah.
And know that most people love giving advice because then they don't have to go do business development. They're getting a dopamine hit from the advice itself. Like it feels good to help others. So they feel like they're accomplishing something in their life. So everybody's going to try and come at you with some sort of, hey, you should be doing this and all it is most times the things they're telling you to do are the shit they should be doing in their own business. Right. But so telling you makes them feel like they're doing those things. They're accomplishing them. This is why you see so many people start off as they're going to be an operations coach or a mindset coach. And then trying to build a coaching business is too hard. They all of a sudden become a coach of coaches, right? Because now they know how to do it. They couldn't do it themselves, but now they're going to coach everybody else in it because, by God, I know all the things you should be doing, even though I didn't build that kind of business. It's really fascinating to watch people sometimes.
I'd also say, okay, we have all this business, but you also need to block time to get out of the house and do the fun things, do the comedy, do all those things to give your brain a break. I'm the worst at it. And when I get into something, I just go, and I cannot turn it off until it's done. kind of thing. So my husband is always in here, go get out, go do this happy hour, go do this, go do that. So he's my reminder. Have that person that says, hey, put it down, let's go and hang out, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you, farm day, although I haven't done it as well in the past few months as I should, when I started a company, one of the things I wanted to do is be able to take some time off. That's all my sales career. I didn't take hardly any time off. It was running and gunning, 24/7. So, and of course we got the farm. So I've instituted early on in the business farm day every Thursday, and literally at noon to 2:00, I would shut down the company and go do something on the farm with Elizabeth, because it was, middle of the week, things I knew to get done. But this allowed me to turn off a little bit. And honestly, we had a lot of work that needed to be done on the farm. So it allowed me to go work on the farm. But I trained my clients, I trained all the people I was around that, hey, Thursdays at between noon and 2, I'm done. If you need me, I'll be on the farm working. That was a cool mental break midweek that allowed me to really shut things down. So put that in there. But yes, play is a major part of it.
Well, and you don't strike me as the type that would, but I like, if there's something that you're going to skip, don't let it be exercise for the day. Don't let it be body movement, because that's the thing that like Jess was saying, if I get super down a hole and I'm like really, really focused on something sitting at my desk and I don't get up and go for a walk when I normally would, I don't get the same sunshine. I don't get the same body movement. I have to make myself get out of that hole and go for a walk or go do something, or like go to yoga, whatever it is I'm going to do for the day, because skipping the workout is like the worst thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the same token, when you're having just a shitty day, because let's be honest, entrepreneurship, one day you're like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. The next day you're like, why the fuck am I doing this? When you're having a shitty day and everything seems to be crashing, get the fuck up and go for a walk. It's the simplest thing in the world to push away from it all, and just get out of the environment. I've figured out how to fix several things, in the company several times just by going and walking the farm. Just something about getting away from it all that really clears the damn mind. I need to start doing some more walking meetings, though. I'm gonna need to put a Calendly event on my phone that says walking meeting, just so I can.
It really is. It's nice. My brain moves better when I'm having a conversation while I'm walking a lot of times, because I'm focusing on the other thing. But
yeah. If I need to learn something, that's the best way for me to learn, is to go walk and listen or the likes, because I call it distracted learning, because I'm so distracted over here. I can actually focus on what I need to focus on. It works really well for me.
ADHD stuff. Just get
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I do it with my son all the time. I give him a coloring page. Color, and then I teach him while he's coloring. So it's find that movement that allows you to kind of just zone out. And a lot of times during that zone out, the answer that you were searching for will come to you.
Yeah. I mean, one of the reasons I struggled in school so much was the teachers wouldn't let me doodle. They never understood, and I couldn't explain it to them, that doodling allowed me to pay attention. But they would always tell me to pay attention, which I never could. So even now, if I've got a really intense project I got to work on, I'm going to go put on movie scores or something that's playing in the background with no words, because for some reason words really distract me. But the music will allow me to remember the movies that it comes from. Right, you can hear that cool film score, so it'll pop up. So it's just enough distraction that I can stay laser focused on whatever I'm working on. And for people with ADHD, watch out for the hyper focus thing, because you can get stuck working on something and you're just freaking there for the next 3 or 4 hours. And you look up and you're like, oh shit, half the day's gone. But you can accomplish a lot of things.
But awareness is big, in that personal awareness. Alan, do you feel like you have pretty good personal awareness of when you're slipping down a rabbit hole and not doing what you're supposed to be doing? Or do you get too far down that and then you're like, oh, hey, 3 hours later, here we are?
No, I'm actually pretty disciplined about staying on task. And I find that, like Donnie, like in the morning, I have my probably my best thinking, and I get the most productive workout early in the day. And as the day goes on, it starts kind of crashing. Like after 7 or 8 at night, I'm like toast. I'm like, all right, let's go to bed. And I don't really like watching a lot of TV. So then I just mindlessly scroll, on my phone, to be candid. So I have discipline through most of the day, but then I run out of gas. I could probably pace myself a little bit more. But one of the things I find, though, is like I have this set of activities that I don't want to do. And they're not really business development. They're like bureaucratic things that I have to like tie up with loose ends with my fidelity guy or whatever. There's a set of things that I just keep putting off like every day. And those things I put on like on a toil list. So it's like every day I should try to work on one of them. Is this just like the garbage activity that I don't want to do? That's like in life, not always directly related to my business, but my focus and concentration is pretty reasonable. But I've had to like really like meditate every day for a couple minutes just to like slow things down a little bit, because especially now that I'm like, okay, January. See, for me, my goal, unfortunately, is to not be in a van down by the river later this year, right?
Oh my God, that's my goal in life.
I want to be in an RV though.
Peyton is a man down by the river.
But I don't want to well, maybe van down by the river. That's why I want to visit Peyton, because maybe, I actually have this dream of later this year driving either to or from Babs, as you guys call it, in an RV. And just like, relinquishing my my house here and taking my dog with me and just like living free, because I've got too much space and too much crap. But that's
Donnie,
just remember to when your stabilizer doesn't lift, remember to bang out with a hammer.
And Donnie, I think we might have to upgrade the location for Babs just for all the RV parking.
I know.
RV parking there.
Dude, if we make this an RV party out in the middle of nowhere, that would be so fun.
I'm in. So as long as we have the big bonfires and bonfire circles and drums and let's go all out.
I'll go tell my husband, hey, we need to go buy an RV this year.
Well, Alan, it sounds to me like you're super aware of the times that you are not productive and what you do when you're not productive. It's just a matter of stopping yourself from doing it. Because I do exactly what you said. The 8 o'clock, like in the evening, I don't really want to watch TV, but I'm trying not to work. So instead, I scroll for like 2 hours, which I mean only be 30 minutes. And then I just keep going and going and going. And then I'm like, oh, it's bedtime. No, I haven't really done anything. So, I mean, just being aware of that, in fact, like making yourself do something else, but also the activities that you don't want to do. Like Donnie said, you should totally do that stuff first. I mean, like I used to make conflict calls in the morning first thing, because I was like, I want to get this over with, rip the Band-Aid off, deal with my day. And so, but if it's a long activity that you can't take that much time to finish it at the beginning of the day, at least make yourself get it started so that you force yourself to have to finish it by the end of the day. And maybe not having a list of a bunch, but just picking one and saying, this is the one today that's getting done, instead of having because sometimes when you give yourself a list to pick from, you just like never make the decision. You're just like, I'm not even going to pick one. And then tomorrow the same list is there.
Yeah. Even if they are garbage tasks that, you don't really want to do, the longer they stay there, right, the more they're going to grate on your soul, because you're going to finish every day going, I still didn't do that damn thing. And you're doing this sometimes subconsciously, beating the shit out of yourself because you didn't get the task done. Like you put it off, and you're like, damn it, idiot. Why didn't you just do the damn thing? It's not that hard.
I think that all goes back to what you're talking about, though, with accountability, because at the beginning of all of my weeks, I sit down and my clients think I'm updating them on their projects, but really what I'm doing is I'm setting accountabilities for all the projects we have going on in the agency to make sure that that portion of that project gets done. So how can you slip in those accountabilities to get those things done and make sure everything stays on track? So
I like that. Yeah. Oftentimes running a business, because it's such a mental game, that if we stack too much shit up, it's going to eat us, on the inside. But we also don't pause to ask ourselves why we don't want to do a thing, right? So sometimes it's good just to stop and go, okay, why do I keep putting said task off? What is it about task I don't want to do? and then dive into that a little bit, because usually it's, it's overwhelming, it's boring, it's whatever, right? Analyze it and then go, okay, how do I change it so it's not X, whatever X is? Can I make it fun? Can I do something to change up the activity so I don't hate it so much?
Yeah, I just want to comment on a little bit of this, because you guys are hitting on, I think, something that's tremendously important. And I was thinking of, like you said the word just a few times, but Nike's phrase of "just do it" is brilliant. And I think the reason it's brilliant is because of the word "just." It's, instead of do it is like a command, right? But just do it is like, hey, knock it off the list right now. And one of the things that I was developing, and it's kind of a long story, but I'll keep it short. I was struggling with what to put on my website with Roger Jorns, because people ask me like, "Oh, what do you do? Tell me a little bit." I mean, those questions are like, you might as well like poke something sharp and hot into my eyeball when somebody says, "What do you do?" Like, I despise that question. So I've actually, to your point, Ashley, I've used like Gen AI to help me. I've dumped in my LinkedIn profile, my resume, the insights that I gave to my website developer, all that stuff. Was like, hey, what do I do? Because I could not really answer that question succinctly. But getting back to the, my branding, one of the things I came up with as a tagline for my website is "the time is now," which is like, it's when you encounter something, you either have to just ignore it or do it. And it's that whole, like, how do you act in the moment versus like worrying about a list that's 20 things long. And I've struggled with that a little bit because I'm a list maker and I'm also a paper like maven. I like have paper all over the place. I'm trying to get away from that, like write something on a list, walk away, come back later and not do it. Right. In my own psychology, that's one thing I'm trying to work on. I'm trying to get more into the point of like, just clip something off the list. If you're going to be working, try to get something done so it's over the goal line.
So something I like to use is called reverse brainstorming. So instead of asking, how do I solve a problem? You ask, how could I possibly cause a problem? And then you start listing out. And so your mind is already in the negative. So work with your mind in the negative. List all the things you could do to create a problem. So business development, I could not cold call. And so eventually what you'll do is you'll get a list of all these things that you could not do. And you'll look at it and you'll be like, well, crap, I'm being stupid. I need to go do all these things. And that will put your mind back into the positive of the things you need to be doing.
Smart. I actually like that.
And we've talked a lot about time management, but we've kind of danced around the idea of energy management as well, right, Alan? So, be really intentional with where you are at your best in your own mindset, right, and accomplishing the tasks. If, like you said, morning is when you are most able to think through those things, make sure that you're setting up your schedule, you're blocking your time to do those mental tasks up front when you're sharpest, right? It's not just about time blocking, it's about energy blocking as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fuck you, Peyton. Thank you.
No, well, this is awesome. Alan, we have hit you with a bunch of stuff over the last 45, 50 minutes. Kind of curious what's going through your head. What's some of the takeaways and things you're going to do from here?
Well, I say I always try to think of things in lists of 3 or 5 because I'm really anal retentive and I like prime numbers, for those of you who don't know. And if you don't know, well, I've just said it, live. I've said it in my comedy act too, but I always think like in terms of 3s or 5s. And I think that probably the biggest 3 things I've taken away are to really get a little more disciplined about my calendar. And not that I'm not disciplined about my calendar, but I have to like mix my work DNA with my calendar and say, okay, during these hours of the day, this is what I aim to do and block off time. Because like in the morning, like to tell you the truth, even though I have like a slot on my calendar for 10 a.m. for a VC, that disrupts my morning because that's usually when I'm making hay, if you will. So I think that whole discipline or resetting my calendar structure, I could probably do more VCs later in the day because like 5 or 6 p.m., I'm just talking with someone. Maybe I'm not trying to like solve world hunger. Maybe I'm just, it's a networking call, so to speak. So I think that's the number one. That is the number one takeaway of really how to like get a little bit better about that. The other point, which I'm going to do some research with AI and Gen AI, is to figure out how to now take my business development, that piece of it, kind of to the next level. Because I've had these stray thoughts of like, oh, okay, I have my website up and running now, and I have these services I'm offering, but people are going to click on those and go, okay, what does this mean by operational excellence and improving bottlenecks? Like, I really have to develop that into something that's real and not just words on a chart. Like, in other words, like I think my business development piece needs probably a lot more refinement. I mean, it's reasonable from, I started from zero, but still, I think it's like reasonable, but it's got to like kind of go to the next level. So I'm really intrigued by what you said, Donnie, about like spend your time on business development. Because for me, I'm like, I hear the words and I kind of roughly know what that is, but it's not like in my like daily roadmap. I would say those are probably the two main things. But the other thing that I think that I might do, because I have people coming to me sometimes and go, hey, do you have any work? Hey, can I do an internship for you? Hey, blah, 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 blah. But I might actually form a small team of people to help me. I don't have a lot of income I have some income coming in, but I might form a team of people. So I have a community of people to talk to regularly, like once a week, like every Monday, we're going to talk about what's going on for the week. And even if I don't have work for them or vice versa, just as like an accountability piece. So that's probably the third thing I came away with, is an idea of like, because like today at 11 a.m., I have a call with a kid who wants to do an internship this summer. So I might say to him, hey, meet with me once a week. Let's talk. Let's figure it out. But I'm not committing to anything, but I need kind of like a buddy system, if you will, like an accountability system. So those are probably the three things that I took away as big points.
That's awesome. That's
Love it.
awesome. Good stuff, bud. Thanks for hanging out with us. I really appreciate it. So, all right, guys, we'll kick it over. Upcoming events and the likes. What are we promoting? What workshops and things do you guys have coming down the pipes? I know I've got a couple. Bernie?
Yeah, I just got one this week. We're producing our weekly event with Jennifer Fry, Disruptor Discussions. This week we have Hannah Abad on the show. So that should be an exciting one for us. That's going to be on Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern.
Nice. Let's see. I've got a stop cold calling workshop, master the B2B game of networking instead. On February 6th, I have an endless stream of referrals workshop coming up on February 19th. And then we are, of course, doing the Badass Business Summit September 17th through the 19th here in Fort Worth, Texas, and maybe an RV meetup. So we'll be hosting an RV show to show off all the rigs that will be there. Hope the parking lot's big enough. So, Jess, what's your workshop? I know you got one.
Awesome. And that's coming up this Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Central. 30 content ideas in 1 hour. I'm going to show you how to brainstorm that and get those quickly done. We also have First Thursday Happy Hour coming up in person in Fort Worth, Texas. That's going to be at Trinity River Distillery, 5:30 to 7:30 this week. So
nice. Ash, you have any events coming up?
Nothing's scheduled at the moment, but there is a sales mindset workshop coming with my friend Jason Barnaby. We just haven't set dates yet, but it is going to be a lot of talk about just how you need to have your brain ready to go when you're going to start those business development activities.
Nice. Oh, and Thursday at 10 a.m. for members of SCN, Woody Fish is coming in to talk to the entire network. So it was Q&A, fireside chat. So it's going to be a really, really fun conversation.
Wait, when is that?
So it's Thursday at 10 Central.
Okay.
So you can find it in Circle with the information there. But Woody is such a damn good dude. Funny as shit. Former Duke coach, Hall of Fame collegiate coach, top fundraiser right now, and just an all-around good dude. So it'll be fun to have him come in Thursday at 10 a.m. So, well, guys, that wraps up another week for us. Alan, thanks for hanging out with us. All the people that are watching, commenting, thank you guys for jumping in and supporting us each week. We love doing this. We're having a lot of fun. Even when Bernie talks, it's okay. That's a nice addition to the whole thing. So, and I mean, Ashley's been okay hanging out with us. I mean, it's been all right. It's been all right.
You made it through a whole show with a Care Bear hat on.
I did. I think this thing looks sexy as hell too. So, but guys, we're here every Monday, 8 a.m. CST. Love you, mean it. See you. Bye.
Thank you.